The call to the battle is here. 25 top iRacing drivers are about to embark in a season of none other. Season 6 strength of field hovers just around 4,000. You don't get that in any 305 official race. These drivers want this season more than any season in the 305 Outlaw Series. Big-time names are back this season, including your Season 5 champion, Sean Stevens, and Season 4 champion, Jason Randolph. Will one of these two be back on top this season, or will another driver find success? Zach Dykstra could be the one to watch and may be hungry for a championship in only his second season. Jason Nygaard has proven he can park his machine in victory lane. Can he be the one that comes away with the title this season? Or Mad Max Stanball and his teammate Daniel Burkhart could be the team this season to put Team Double Deuce in their place after being so dominant last season. Let's not forget about our new drivers for Season 6, Tyler Street, that has some real-life racing experience winning the Ohio Valley Sprint Car Association Championship last season. Coulter West, part of Team LGR, and we know their success. Finally, the real question. Will the two pro drivers be too tough to beat, or will we see experience in Miller Time Motorsports pay off? We have never seen a new driver enter into the 305 Outlaw Series and win it all. The competition is extremely tough. Clayton Tilley and Ross Kaiser, the two pro drivers, look to flex their muscles this season. Welcome to Season 6 Miller Time Motorsports 305 Outlaw Series. Hello and welcome into Studio 8. I am Ryan Griffith. I've got Byron Gay and Chris Miller with us today. It is week number 3 at USA International Speedway with Miller Time Motorsports in the Outlaw Series of the 305s. Byron, Chris, how are you guys doing on Miller Time Sunday?
I'm ready. That's all I need to know is that I'm ready. I'm ready for some racing action tonight and hope the drivers are ready.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited too. Man, the first 2 weeks definitely didn't disappoint. I thought the first week was probably the best week of racing we've ever seen at Miller Time, and then the second week probably topped it. So, man, I don't know what the third week will bring, but it's been a while since we've been to USA, so we'll see. I mean, I went back and looked at the last, winners at USA. I think it was Season 3 and 2 were the last time we were here, and the top 3 of each one of those races no longer run with us, so it'll be a new story to Miller Time tonight after USA.
Yeah, I would agree with that also. There isn't a whole lot of stats to kind of look at with USA, but I think USA is a really fun track. I enjoy it. I know several other drivers do enjoy it. Before we deep dive into too much about it, I posted there on Dirt Eye TV that we will not be going live after today. Today will be the final episode that you will see over here on Facebook. We will still have this page up. Of course, we will not go live on this page anymore. We are directing everything over onto YouTube, and you need to go there and hit that subscribe button. And that's where you're going to start seeing all of the videos and a collection of work on there. The downside about Facebook is the fact that there is some stipulations with Facebook that you can and cannot do. But the other thing is after we do our broadcast, they start to disappear and they don't save, versus YouTube, they do save, and we get those for years down the road. And when we become, 20, 30 years old, older than what we are now, when we're like 60 and 70 years old, we can look back and see how much fun we was having in our 30s, right, Chris? I mean, you're not in your 30s, but...
No, I'm a little bit above that anymore.
But anyway, that's the goal. And then we have another kind of surprise, another destination that will be released. Hopefully coming around May, around the Kings of Miller Time. We have another destination that's going to be really, really cool for all of our viewers to be able to go watch Dirt Eye TV on this platform. It's going to be really cool. A lot better than Facebook and what we've been doing. So let's talk a little bit about last week at Cedar Lake. Byron and Chris, we seen the pro get himself in victory lane, and that was of way of Clayton Tilley. And
he pretty much just dominated. There was nobody out there that was going to catch Clayton Tilley. So were you shocked that Clayton Tilley came out and was so dominant?
No. Plain and simple, no. We saw it there after the selection show that, we knew he was going to be fast there. So, I mean, it really wasn't a surprise that, he came out and just flat out dominated everybody. I do think, Randolph had a good run halfway through. He was starting to gain, start to lose. Cautions, helped him out, but ultimately just didn't get the job done for him.
Sure. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't shocked because, I mean, we did pick him. And just like Byron said, the exhibition race there, I mean, he pretty much dominated that with you in it. I mean, that was a good way to judge it. I mean, you were there with him, but you weren't able to get around him. But not only did he dominate, I mean, he was fifth in qualifying. That was the worst thing he did all night. He won his heat. He won the dash from seventh. I thought that was impressive. And then dominated the feature, leading every lap there. But, I think the biggest surprise there was PJ Popham taking the top time. One, I was surprised by that. I wouldn't have expected that. But then he did take the top time and then still had to come through the B main. So that just shows the level of competition that we had last week. I think the average strength of field was 37.64, so pretty competitive.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing with Clayton Tilley that was different versus week one is in qualifying. He qualified a lot better in week one. He qualified 11th, so that helped him out a little bit. Qualifying fifth, he got into his heat race and he was able to win heat race number one. He was lucky to be lined up in heat race number one. So man, he was starting on the pole, and when you start on the pole, it's really hard to it's hard to catch that guy. It really is. He sets the pace of the race, and so now we've seen it 2 weeks in a row. We've seen the pole setter win both times. Are we going to see that same thing here at USA? Whoever sits on the pole of this feature could potentially win it. That's the question I've got. Byron, what do you think?
I think, it should be that way with the way that USA is. We saw it last night to where, Heat Race 1, we didn't have that happen. I mean, I couldn't make it happen. Heat Race 2, it did. It just depends on how well they can hold their line down there and how well they can find the line as it moves. So I think it's going to be a little harder to pass here in the corners, but if it does happen, it's going to be a surprise move that nobody really sees coming.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I definitely don't think we would be surprised if it's, the guy that takes off the pole, takes off from the lead and leads it from start to finish. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with cautions. We'll do a couple double file restarts. You never know what's going to happen there. But, I think they'll probably take off, get a lead. Probably won't reach lap traffic. So, it could very easily just be start to finish leader. So qualifying is going to be important.
Okay, so we talked about just a little bit ago, you said that a shocker was PJ Popham in week number 2 with set and qualifier. What is a name out there that you may look at that says, this guy may be somebody that may shock us this week?
I think I'm going to go with Troy Flero. We know he's been quick here. He hasn't been up in the top 3, top 5 all season. He's slowly working his way back into the power rankings. So I think if anybody I'm going to watch, it's going to be Troy.
Okay. Chris?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to give away my top 3, so I'm giving you a driver that I didn't take in my top 3, but
Sure.
A guy that I definitely debated about taking was Jeff Flero. He's been hot, and, I know these guys from Northeast Outlaws out there. They've been practicing a little bit this week. Seen them in the Discord room there, and I don't know. I think Jeff's turned over a new leaf, and maybe he's got something for him tonight.
I would say that's a pretty good pick, too. I like Jeff Flero and what he's been doing. He's changed his kind of narrative of how he was driving. His narrative's a little bit changed now for this season, and he's performing a lot better than the past. Before we move on to some other things, we'll talk about Get Upside. It's a free cash back app, 25 cents off per gallon. You can't beat that. I use it. I've been using it for over a month now. I'm over $15 just cash back just by getting gas, and you know how much gas is right now. And you could get that extra 15 cents off per gallon right now if you use referral code Ryan25753. Everyone could potentially use that 40 cents off a gallon when gas is just crazy expensive right now. All right, let's talk about power rankings. I like the power rankings. I like looking at these here. And so it just came out this week. This was after week 2, and we seen Clayton Tilley hit the top of the mark there with a dominating performance. He was sitting second. Randy Shreves didn't have the best of race. Of course, he wasn't dominant like he was in week 1. So, of course, he drops down to the 3rd spot. Jason Randolph kind of sits there in that 2nd spot. Brandon Voiles moves up into the 4th spot. He was pretty far down in this list. Now, he's in the 4th spot, being pretty dominant. And then we talked about last week, Jeff Flero was inside the top 10. He just cracked the top 10 in power rankings. Now he's in 5th right now in power rankings. That just says a lot about what Jeff Flero is doing, and it's opened the eyes up of the admin in this series. Brandon Surratt is still in that 6th position, no move there. And here we go. Number 7, number 8. This is kind of shocking here. Sean Stevens, still, we have not seen him show the dominating performance that he had last season. Sean Stevens dropping down to the 7th spot I mean, he could potentially have a bad week this week. If we see him outside the top 10 in power rankings, very, very likely. And then Zach Dykstra had some bad luck in both races, and he's in that A spot. And then we got 2 brand new names inside that power rankings. Tyler Street in that 9th position, and Kyle Vaughn in that 10th position. Guys, tell me what you think about that list. Byron, what shockers do you see there, or is it kind of what you've seen?
I think one of the bigger shockers is Kyle Vaughn finally cracking in. I mean, he has been racing very well. It'll be interesting to see what that team can continue to do since they're having so much success here with Jeff. I think the biggest non-shocker is Sean right now. I mean, it is a shocker, but it isn't. He's falling off pace, and even tonight he's got a bad qualifying pill back there in the back. So, I mean, this could be another bad week for him. I don't want to put it on him. I hope Sean turns it around and can prove me wrong, but I think we're going to see Stevens outside of the top 10 here soon.
Wow. Chris?
The biggest surprise for me, and it's not that it's a surprise to me that he's not good enough to be up there, but it's Brandon Voiles. I'm in Discord every night, and I see how much Brandon and Zach are in there every night practicing, and it's paying off for both of them. I mean, Brandon's sitting there in 4th, and Zach's sitting there in 8th. Surratt's in 6th. He's their teammate, too. I just know that, Zach and Brandon are in there all the time, night in and night out, practicing. And they're practicing more 360 410s, but it's paying off here in the 305s for them, too. So I think that's the biggest surprise. And Tyler Street, he's a brand new driver to the league, so he's only got 2 races under his belt so far, and we know it takes these drivers a little bit of time to get acclimated to the league. And he's come in here and he's sitting there in 8th. I think he's right up there in points too somewhere, but he's running pretty good.
So I want to talk about what Byron said with Sean Stevens. He's down and we could see him outside the top 10. It so reminds us of last season, because last season Sean Stevens got off to a slow start, and he came in about mid-season and was just dominant, lights out, and that's why he won that season. If it wasn't for that, then you probably were crowning Brian Johnson as your champion. What is it with Sean Stevens early in the season that is struggling? And we're seeing it now, and I think you're right. I think he's going to struggle maybe tonight, as we've got word that he is suffering with COVID, and he's going to be racing tonight with COVID. So Byron, what do you think?
Well, that's news to me that he's racing tonight with COVID. I've been there. I've raced with it before. It's definitely no small task. He's probably going to be dealing with some body pains. So I think, right now his best bet is to just get his head down. He's probably been struggling getting acclimated to these new guys, trying to find his way with these setups. So, if I'm in his shoes, I'm getting my head down. Week in, week out, I'm going to at least try to put 100 laps on, each setup, trying to find my spot in qualifying where it's going to be track state wise, getting on that feature setup, running some like heat lap races with that full fuel, getting in there with the feature, and just trying to find lines as it moves around the track.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, Sean's going to have to. We've all had COVID here, and we know what it's like to race with it. So it is tough. It's hard to keep your mind focused, and he's just going to have to go out there. Right now, he's sitting fourth in points with an average finish of ninth. So honestly, if he can go out there and just try to get a top 10 or even, around 10th, top 15, it's not going to kill him in the points. You're looking at the top three guys right there in points right now. They've been consistent now the first two races. So with Clayton Tilley, Randy Shreves, and Jason Randolph, they've all been right up there. So, Sean just has to go out there and just do his best and have a finish. Actually, just finish the race. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, so you look at the season standings right now. Of course, Clayton Tilley on top of the leaderboard by 1 point over Randy Shreves. Third is Jason Randolph. Fourth is Sean Stevens. He's only 16 points back. It's just that speed, that dominance that we're used to seeing is not there. But he's still in good striking distance there in that fourth position. Brandon Surt in the fifth position. Sixth is Brandon Boyles. Seventh is Jeff Flaro. Eighth is PJ Popham. Ninth is Tyler Street, and rounding out the top 10 is Zach Dykstra, 42 points out from the lead. So these points are still very, very close, and I imagine is only going to get closer after this week here at USA International. Did we talk about team points yet? No, we have not. And so we need to talk about team points because that has shook it up just a little bit there. Not a whole lot. Just that second and third position has changed around a little bit as Momentum Sim Sports has moved into that second spot and is now only 4 spots away from that top spot. And Momentum Sim Sports, that would be your pro drivers of Clayton Tilley and Ross Kaiser. And yeah, they're sitting in that second position and probably would be winning right now, as what Clayton Tilley was saying. My teammate is kind of letting me down. So that's exactly why I wanted Clayton Tilley here today, as he won last week. And I wanted Ross Kaiser because I want to know what the heck's going on with you. I mean, come on, let's see that pro driver. And I think we'll see him maybe make a rebound tonight here at USA. So LGR is in that third position. They have been strong. They're only 6 points out. Got Randy Shreves, Tyler Street. There's some great guys over there as well. But Huddle Racing is in that number 1 spot with 346. And like Chris said, they're in the server practicing day in, day night. It's awesome to see. All right, moving on. Let's get into some interviews because we're already kind of spending a lot of time on some of this stuff. So we got 3 drivers we want to talk to today. And that is, you've got Clayton Tilley, you got Ross Kaiser, you got Tyler Street. Byron, who do you want to talk to first?
I want to save the teammates for last. Let's talk to Mr. Tyler Street.
You want to talk to Tyler Street? We'll bring Tyler Street in. Tyler Street, do you got a copy?
I do.
And there he is. Tyler, I brought you in because you finished pretty well last week. You finished, what was it, 8th place? Or no, I'm sorry. You finished 6th last week. You qualified 11th last week. You've been coming on strong. First week, you got involved in an accident. It wasn't your fault. It happened right in front of you. No time to react and put you in the wall. So you've been doing very well. But we brought you in the first week of the pre-race show. And we talked to you because you're a newcomer coming in. And now that you're with us and you've got 2 races, what's your thoughts on the league and how these 305s and the competition is?
It's a very good league. What the pill draw and all that. That's really cool to get it as close as possible to real life. So that pill draw still means just as much in iRacing, just as much as what it does in real life for qualifying. And your qualifying still determines your entire night basically. So those are 2 big things from it that are in real life that bring it into the league here. That's really, really cool to do. But just trying to not struggle as much. It's hard. There's still a lot of good guys in this league that you got to be on your A game. And with 305s, there's not it's all about momentum. There's no engine to them that all the power in the world that you can just keep flat footing it, but hoping that you can keep up with everybody else basically. So.
Yeah, so looking at you and your stats and where you're sitting in the standings and everything, currently you are the best newcomer in, other than, of course, Clayton Tilley as the pro driver, which kind of expected that anyway. But Tyler, I mean, you're putting on a great show, and you probably haven't had the finishes that you've really thought that you should have, especially after week number one. Coming in here at USA, what do you think your chances are to crack that top five?
We're getting better, keep getting better, and with all LGR, we're all good teammates and we're all helping out each other. I mean, we all spot each other in heat races if we're not, in the same heats or anything like that, or just watching other people who other lines, Tilly's lines or Ross's lines or just anybody's really just to see who's getting more speed out of it, and USA I'm pretty good at. I gotta watch the def holes out of 4. That's gonna kill me probably. I have a newer Fanic Tech, the DD, and I've never had it at USA on dirt, so this will be my first test. I've done it at Charlotte, and I already know how bad the holes kill me on that. So we'll see how USA holes kill me. But the biggest thing to watch here at USA is when the bottom kicks back in again, compared to the high. The high side is just so high that the bottom just comes back to life.
Yeah, absolutely. There's several lines here, and we talked about that earlier. Are you in the right place at the right time when the track starts to transition? I think that's going to be key for any driver out there to kind of adapt to that track as it changes throughout the night. Byron, what do you got for Tyler?
Well, Tyler, first of all, I want to know what's it like coming from deeper in the field, trying to work through that traffic. What are you seeing from these guys as you're coming forward?
Starting deep in the field like that, you still got to you want to be the aggressive dude that that goes hauling it back up through the field, but you also got to be kind of patient on some of the lines that you have a faster car and you're running those up. You if you started up front and you ran up front, had something happen, you go to the back. Well, now you know that you can run up front and stay up front, but you also got to be kind of patient, know your lines, know your how aggressive you need to be at the times and at the right times to do it basically. So it makes it difficult when you go back there because you got a little bit slower cars, or some guys have damage back there and it just makes it a little bit harder, or or your line that you had that was really good is, well, that line's taken, so now you got to find something else. So that's the hardest part is to have a good line and still to come back up to the front.
I just got one more here, and that's, with these 2 races you've had under the belt, what are your future outlooks towards, even USA, even further past that? What kind of results are you looking forward to here?
Still trying to get in that top 5. It's felt really good last week, making some good lines, but having some incidents or something like that, that kind of cost me some, and just trying to keep up the speed, the wing angle and that stuff to adjust the wing. A lot of times that I know in 305 stuff, you want to leave it as far straight as possible, but you still getting sideways and still wheel spinning and that stuff. So it's really difficult still to adjust to everything like that, and that's kind of my fault also. I mean, I don't run a whole bunch of the 305 stuff, but I used to do that all the time on here. We used to do it, and it made it a lot easier to know all that stuff all the time. But just trying to get back up in the top 5. I want those top 5s, and then we can start getting better from there.
All right.
Yeah, so Tyler, you mentioned that you want those top 5s, and I'm sure you do. And what we've seen in the past is every new driver that comes in, it takes some time to get acclimated to the league. But I mean, are you satisfied with where you've been and where you finished so far in the league? And they're sitting 9th in points. Are you satisfied 2 weeks in, or were you expecting a little better than that?
Kind of half and half. I'm a little satisfied with how we're doing it. Just to come into a new league, to know, not a whole bunch of into everything, but to come into the league and doing pretty decent. And with the guys that are all here, you start, the first 2 weeks, I kind of learning who to race against, who can you not race against, really hard, and not really hard to race against. So, and that's kind of was the learning curve for me a little bit, just to know your guys around you. And it's the same thing as what happens in real life. Know who's all around you, know who's a buddy on the track, who's not a buddy on the track, basically. So I wish I was doing a little bit better. The 9th in points is, that's not terrible. I'd like to be up there a little bit more. Randy and I are good friends, and with Steve Vogelsong and Coulter. We're all good friends, you know, and we're all really fast, and we know we can be really fast. Is just the consistency of being up front every week.
Well, you definitely got good teammates out there, and I mean, I expect you to be up front a lot. But what do you think you got for us tonight?
At least a top 10 for sure. To me, is if I can get that bottom line to work, that'll be my biggest thing. I can make the high line work any day. That's pretty, you know, everybody kind of follows that line up top, but I want to make sure I can know my line later in the race. That's going to be the biggest thing.
All right, so who you picking to win?
I'd really like Randy. Randy's good at USA. He's always really good, but Tilly's going to be hard to beat. Tilly's the pro driver, and he's always going to be the hard man to beat.
Yeah, it should be interesting. But well, good luck to you and LGR tonight, and hopefully we're talking to you after the race.
Thank you.
All right, Tyler, good luck tonight. And yeah, you never know. We might be seeing you in victory lane. It's happened before. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Which one? Which one?
Why not both?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it depends here. You know, I think we want to bring Tilly in first to ruffle the feathers, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe, and then bring Ross in to
But he
defend
heard
himself.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, let's bring Tilly in. Tilly, you got a copy. Clayton Tilly, you got a copy.
Yo, yeah, sorry, mate. Yep.
There he is. Clayton, we brought you in first. We're planning on bringing Ross in too. So I mean, just you can, you know, trash talk him all you want. We're just going to bring him in to defend himself, and I thought it was going to be really comical for the show. So, but hey, you got it done last week, and you got it done in a dominating fashion. You told me, you says, you should have picked me, and then you told me you need to pick me if you're wanting 3 points here at USA. I haven't got my picks out yet, but hopefully I was smart and I listened to you. But I'm a wild ball. I sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. But Clayton, what was the success there at Cedar Lake that made you so dominant versus everybody else? Because we noticed that as the track got more and more slick, you got more and more dominant. What's the tips out there for some of these drivers?
I don't know if there's necessarily a specific kind of tip for 305s. You've really just got to let the car stick, and whether that means backing out of the throttle or keeping the car straight, you've just got to make sure you put it in the right places and find where the right places are to put it. It's more about searching the track more than it is, you know, just mashing the throttle like you do the 360s and the 410s. You've got to have a bit of finesse, but I don't know. There's not really anything massive that can give you an edge in them. You've just got to be super smooth.
Yeah. And so I looked back at week number 1 and when you was racing there, and you said that you didn't have a whole lot of laps on you. That was on your own fault, but you didn't put in enough time to really be contender to win there. And then you come at Cedar Lake and you're dominant. So how many laps did you put in prior to the race?
We put a server up about 2 hours before the race, and I think me and Ross did about 70 or 80 laps each, and that was about all we put in. But you know, we felt pretty comfortable after about 20 laps, and the rest was just sort of getting a rhythm, you know. But I think that practice race, the exhibition race that we had about a month or two ago, was definitely a big help too. So got us comfortable on the initial set.
So you put up a 2-hour server, and you know it found you success for 70 some laps there. It puts you in the lead and being able to hold them off. So does it take like what, 4 or 5, 6 hours for Ross Kaiser, or what is it for him?
Oh God, there's not enough hours in the day for Ross by the looks of it, as you've seen the past 2 weeks.
Well, you said it. You said that the team points is because of him, and I think he kind of wrecked himself there at Cedar Lake. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I'm thinking that he got up in the wall and kind of ruined his own night. So, yeah.
That's nothing new then.
So what do you see from Ross Kaiser tonight? Do you think he's ready to rebound back and, take some pride with that pro label?
Well, I think if we're being honest, that we probably need to park the trailer near one of the walls in one of the corners, and that way he can just flip it straight in, make it a lot easier for us. Nah, he should be alright here. He should be fine. He's got no excuse. He just needs to start driving straight rather than over the wall. It's probably a good start.
Okay. Byron, what do you got for Clayton?
Mr. Tilley, I heard from a little birdie that this week you have put a lot of official races in at USA International. Is that true?
That little birdie might be correct.
Oh, I mean, that little birdie was Ryan, so I know he's correct. How much success did you find in those official races that you can bring into tonight?
I think we did 16 races. We had 16 poles, 16 wins, and we led all 320 laps. So you take from that what you want.
I think that's enough stats that I need tonight. Chris, you got anything for him?
Yeah, so I mean, I had that stat wrote down, and I wanted to ask you about that. So I got to ask you. So we run a little bit different setup than the officials. So is that going to be any effect? First of all,
Nah, shouldn't be. We put a server up an hour ago and had a quick spin in them and just sort of felt it out. But we were pretty comfortable from the first few laps in, so shouldn't be any issues. Got no excuses.
all right. So you're telling me you're just fine, and I mean I've taken you the first 2 races to win. So I mean, probably a no-brainer based off of those stats for tonight. But I do want to make a comment. This might affect you a little bit. I just went back and looked at your last 7 305 officials at USA this week, which was just in the last couple of days. Only an average strength of field of 2288. Are you beating the week? I mean, because the league's going to bring close to 4,000 tonight.
Well, there was a few guys in there from the leagues, although the strength of fields were pretty low. I know they were pretty average. But I did see Gavin come to a few of them, and Ross was in that last one and made him look stupid. But that's usually the normal anyway. But yeah, we can only beat who shows up, so we'll take that. But I don't know. I suppose tonight will tell, won't it?
Well, here's the one thing, Chris, and we've said this, and that's what's so beautiful about this 305 league is the fact that it's really hard to go in an official and find a 3,800 I rating in a 305. You're just not going to find that. It's just, there's not enough of those people that's out there, and we've kind of just gathered all the best of the best 305s and high I rating, and boom, now we have it. And now Clayton's getting to show off his skills in 305, so it's pretty fun. Let's get Ross Kaiser in here, because I know he's going to have some fun with this.
Oh, boy.
Ross Kaiser, you got a copy?
Yep.
Welcome to what we call the pre-race show, where normally winners come.
Yeah, I don't know how I got here. Probably rough
Ross,
luck.
maybe you should fetch us all a coffee or a beer or something.
Yeah, I'll be the water boy, I guess. Yeah.
So, Ross, a bad week number 1. You were doing well in week number 2. Bad week in number 2. Tell me.
Yes.
What happened there at the end of that race there at Cedar Lake?
Cedar. We're just battling with Randolph. Did a very deep slider on him. 1 and 2 was very sketchy. Just drove it in a little harder than I should have and hopped the wall a little bit, and that knocked everything out. And then wasn't really looking at my incident points. Got my quick fix, came out, was gonna just run the top, see how many spots I could get, and then someone brake checked me under caution, and I got DQ'd. So that ended that.
Well, I will say there's not a whole lot of people that get this Q from DQ points, and so you're probably on one of those higher stats that I need to bring out, like the people that's been DQ'd, and you might be on there.
Happen.
Yeah. So
we made it happen.
Just for the record, Ryan.
Yeah.
His incidents per lap 0.666.
Ooh.
Hard in with the devil, I guess.
Now, is he at least winning that, or?
Ouch, man! That
he is the leader.
Well,
yeah.
I would like to know what some of the people in the league thinks. We already know what Clayton Tilley thinks, but I'm interested. If you're watching this, please comment below what you think of Ross Kaiser, because I mean they completely trashed Jeff Flair last season with his safety rating. So I mean,
at least mine are from usually hitting the wall by myself. So.
Okay.
That helps.
So here we are at USA. What's your chance of finally getting inside the top 3.
Oh, that shouldn't be a problem. I think it really just comes down to being in second, hooking Tilly's tail tank, and then we should be okay to get the win. But that's my thoughts. Qualifying 4th because I'm really good at picking the pills. Tilly thinks he can rig the system, but just hasn't been able to.
Yeah.
I've picked 3 pills so far. Got 1, 4, and 16. Pretty good average. Tilly's been mid-pack for all the draws.
So
As long as I don't choke qualifying, we should be okay.
maybe that's the issue. Maybe you just need to draw a pill that's like 24 or 25, and then maybe you'll get some results from that. Maybe
I was thinking that because usually when you go out early, you don't know what you're doing. You just hope for the best and hope you know what line's going to be in. But when you go out
Really
late, like Tilly does, it helps.
If we look at your last 2 races, you don't know what you're doing anyway, so what's it matter?
That is true.
Oh, jeez. Shots fired. I love this team. It's awesome. Byron, what do you
Oh,
got for Ross?
I can only imagine what practice is with you two. It's got to be probably the best time ever.
Oh, it's great because there's usually a few other special individuals that we have join in, and it goes from practice to a rec fest. Usually,
Sounds like Miller time.
yes,
We're just simulating Ross's race.
yes.
So I took you last week to finish 3rd.
Bad idea.
You got around Randolph. You're running 2nd, and then you tagged the wall.
Yeah, we
how
ran 2nd for about 1 corner, I think.
How much of a confidence killer is that?
Not really a confidence killer. I expected to wreck, usually. It's not something I'm pretty known for doing it. It's usually you're wrecking or you're winning, or finishing 2nd to this big cat himself.
So let's say you do get around Clayton tonight. How are you going to hold him off?
Mirror driving the hell out of him. Sorry, my language. I've beat him before in a 305. I ended his year-long winning streak, actually, at Eldora.
Ooh, that'll be a fun race then.
But, yes, I think Tilly's beatable. It's just a matter of not doing my usual.
Wrecking.
Yes.
Chris, what do you
Well-
got?
Well, so I look at the team standings and I see.
Oh, they're probably dreadful.
Yes, I see Momentum SimSport just sitting only 2 points back. Only 2 points back. So, Ross, 4 points. 4 points back. I'm sorry. So my bad. I mean, I guess I got to give you a little bit more than, all you would have to do at Ross is average a 16th place finish right now. And you guys would be leading those points.
Yeah,
So
we'd probably be leading, but Volusia was just dreadful. Every time I would get up front, I got caught up in someone's mess. But
Yeah, good one, Ross. At the end of the season, I'm going to have to use my winnings to pay for a chiropractor after carrying you all season.
Chiropractor, you'll probably have to buy a casket because I'll be done.
that might be more like it. I mean, so what do you got to do tonight to get a 16th place finish? You might be sitting on top of the team standings after tonight.
Not hitting the inside wall, trying to run the bottom, not driving it through the slick, and mirror driving anyone behind me that's fast. That's how we'll do it.
Oof. Sounds like a 17th place.
No.
I believe there's only one car going home tonight through the B main. So Ross,
I could probably make it happen.
don't embarrass Clayton by doing that.
I might have to.
All right, guys, it's been good talking to you. Good luck tonight, Clayton, and I guess good luck to you too, Ross.
Thank you.
Cheers, fellas. Cheers.
See ya. All right, that was fun.
That was a good time.
Let's get into what we need to talk about, and that is going to be the picks. It's Who Are You Picking? Sponsored by Luke's Bar and Grill. All right, Chris, you're going to be up first. And right now in the point standings, Byron is actually leading right now. He's got the 6 points. Chris, you got 5. I've only got 1. I'm like the Ross Kaiser of this group right now. I'm doing terrible. I need to change something, and maybe it was taking the advice of Clayton Tilley. I don't know. But, Chris, do you have your top 3 correct tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was difficult. And, I actually had my first one picked, and I had my third one picked, and I was trying to find a second place guy. I ended up moving my third place guy to second. I threw somebody in here in third, but you know what? I said it earlier. I'm picking Brandon Boyles. But he's been doing really well. Him and Zach been putting in a lot of time on the sim. He was third last week at Cedar Point, at Cedar Lake. He's sixth in the points, and I think he's going to get himself another top 3 tonight and prove to these guys that he belongs up there.
Okay, it's a good pick. I mean, he's in 4th in the point standings, so yeah, real good pick. He's been practicing for sure. Byron, number 3 pick. Everyone's keeping your eyes on Byron because he landed the number 1 and the number 2 spot last week. He was 100% right. I'm very interested at your picks today. Byron, your number 3 pick.
I would have had all 3 technically up there, if Ross didn't hit the wall. So I'm taking Ross in 16th place tonight. But as far as 3rd place goes, I'm going to go ahead and take Jason Randolph. You can't discount him out of the top 3. I think there is some guys faster than him. Ross might be one of them, but, Ross hasn't showed me anything to put him back in there. So until he does, he's just not going to get my spotlight.
I love it.
I like that pick. I do. And, Jason so far has proved that he's up there in the top 5. I told you guys to take him top 3 every week until he proves otherwise, and here he is.
It's a good pick. All right. Who do I have as the number 3 pick? I need some big things to happen tonight. I need 6 points. I need to get every single one of these right.
I'm going to go off the wall here. And I think you got Jeff Flero sitting in that 3rd spot.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I think you're going to go with the Michael Jordan of the 305 sprints tonight. Sick or not, Sean Stevens.
Okay. First off, Jeff Flero, I don't think that's off the wall because Jeff Flero has proven that he could potentially be inside this top 3 for sure. Tonight, I'm not picking Jeff Flero tonight. I am going to give some love to somebody that we just talked to. No, it's not Clayton Tilley. I'm just kidding.
Ross.
I'm going to give it to Ross. I think he's going to change his narrative tonight, and he needs to. He really needs to. He needs a safe race, and he needs a good finish. I'm putting him in as my number 3 pick today.
Well, it shows why you're in last, because he just said don't anybody pick him and he'd finish in the top 3, but now that you picked him, he's finishing 17th.
All right, Chris, what do you got? Number 2.
All right, number 2. Guys struggled a little bit last week, but I'm going to go back to the officials. That's where we recruit from. This guy's put in some time this week, and I know Tilley just mentioned his name, so that means Tilley beat him because Tilley's won every race he's been in. But Gavin's put in 11. Gavin Chatham is my pick. He's put in 11 starts this week, 11 top 5s, and 5 victories. He is sitting there on that 23rd pill draw, though. I'm hoping that USA, a couple of my picks are towards the back there, so I'm hoping USA doesn't have too much effect on the qualifying.
Well, I'm happy that you picked Gavin on your own, and I didn't convince you to pick him because it would have been wrong. So you might be right this time. As first week, was it first week or maybe last week? I can't remember. You put Gavin in there. And
it was first week.
Yeah, it did.
It was first week, and I had Randolph instead, and then you talked me out of Randolph. It cost me a point here, so not going to happen again. I picked him this time.
Byron, number 2 pick.
I sat there. I messaged this driver about 3 days ago asking him if he was racing because, I never know if he's racing anymore. And he said, yeah, why? And I said, no reason. He thinks I'm going to jinx him. We talked to him earlier today before we started this pre-race show. And, he said he's got something for the man up top. He's got something for Tilley. I'm taking the Miller Time Motorsports number 3, Troy Flero, and I am ready for him to go out there and race.
Interesting. You say that. I mean, it sounds like to me, just by listening to it, you said that Troy Flero has something for Clayton Tilley tonight. So that would make me think that maybe you don't have Clayton Tilley as your number one. So maybe Clayton Tilley's outside your top three, which would blow my mind because you haven't changed your picks yet. All right. That's a good pick. Yeah, Troy's a really good driver, and he's really good here at USA for sure. All right. Number 2 pick for me. Who do I have here?
I think you got Jason.
Okay.
I'll take Shreves.
Randy Shreves. Chris, you're normally always right, and you nail it right on every time. But you're not right yet. It's not Randy Shreves. He might kill me for this pick. My number 2 is Clayton Tilley. I'm putting Tilley number 2 after he just told me put me number 3 and I'll get you 3 points. Oh man. I put him second.
You think there's somebody faster than Tilley?
I think there is somebody that is faster than Tilley here at this track. That's the only reason why I picked it. All right. Chris, number 1 pick for you.
Well, first of all, that's why you're in last. But I don't know, man. This button, I mean, I've had this button set. I don't know why it's not changing. I mean, it's only been 3 weeks in a row. But Tilley's number 1. And that's why you are in last place, because you're only going to get 1 point for his second place because he's going to be first, and that's only going to be 1 point. So he tried to tell you, I mean, I guess you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But Tilley's going to be your winner. Ryan goes down again.
Man, you're right.
What was that analogy?
I did not have to change the button at all. Byron, do I need to change the button?
I want to make this because, you know, I think it'd be just hilarious. I want to get like a Thomas the Tank Engine picture and just put Tilley's face on it because I am riding the Clayton Tilley hype train all season.
Okay. Well, I wish I did have the bandwagon train that comes flying across the screen, but I don't have that because I'm not picking Clayton Tilley as my number 1 yet. It may happen eventually, but not yet. Who do I have that's going to beat Clayton Tilley tonight? Who do I think could potentially do it?
I think you
Byron.
could be looking at like 3 different drivers, one of them being Jason, one being Troy, and one being Jeff. So it's just a question of who do you actually take?
Who do you think? You had to pick one driver out of those 3.
You know, I already have Troy. Let's go, Jeff.
I'm going Troy.
Troy. Number 1 pick. Byron, you're right. This is one of my top 3, or one of the top 3 that you said. You're right. But only Chris was 100% right. You got Troy Flero winning tonight. I think he can get it done. Because if I know anybody better that I've raced right beside, it's Troy Flero. I think he can get it done tonight. And I'm hoping he can beat Clayton Tilley. He can get me 3 points until he gets me 2. Ross was kind of just throw it in there and see if it happens. I'm not banking on him as much as I'm banking on those top 2. I'm wanting 5 points tonight. That's what I'm looking for. Hoping Troy Flero can get it done. Chris, I know you got something smart to say. Go ahead.
I mean, you might be right, but even with that, it's Troy Flero who's going to get your first, and then Tilley must be third and Kaiser be second or something, because that's going to be your 5. You ain't getting first and second, because I think Tilley will be first, but whatever. Even against our team, me.
I guess it's is it time? Yeah, it's getting close to that time.
It's there.
To go racing at USA International. It's going to be a fun one. I wish I was driving here. This is one of my probably top 3 favorite tracks for sure. It's definitely right up there. I absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun. We're about to go green flag racing in week number 3 of Miller Time Motorsports. Guys, let's get over to the track. We'll see you there.
To all the drivers and fans, thanks for watching the pre-race show right here live on Dirt ITV, the home of Miller Time Motorsports. Become a supporter of Dirt ITV is easy. Simply go to paypal.com, PayPal me/Dirt ITV. Any donation is greatly appreciated. And now it's time for Miller Time Sunday.